Right, so I say we get into this then. Right,
Come on.
welcome. So, for obviously the new people who don't know who you are, could you tell a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Stuart Blues. I am the host of British Murders, which is a true crime podcast. Focuses exclusively on British murder cases. It looks at serial killers, one-off murder cases. I cover horror movies every now and again, but that's kind of like a bit of fun now. Bring a friend on and talk about that. Also, kind of a big deal on TikTok. Not really. I got a few followers on there, which I'm sure we'll come to. But the main thing is I'm basically a true crime podcast host. And I'm trying to get bigger on YouTube, but it's mainly big on the podcasting side.
Yeah. So, speaking of all the cases what you've covered, what is the most shocking case you've come across?
So there's a guy called James Patterson Smith, and this geezer, I covered episode 10 of season 4 of my podcast. I do 10 episodes per season. So I finished off with this guy, and basically this guy is a alpha and a murderer and a domestic abuser, all the shit. So first of all, he gets a partner who was 20 when he was probably about 32 or something like that. So they're both adults. He basically beat her up all the time. He tried to drown her in the bath one time. She ended up leaving him. And then he got with a girl who was 15 when he was 34. And did the same thing with her, beat her up, tried to drown her in the sink this time. She managed to escape with her life. The third known person that he got with was this girl called Kelly Bates. She got with him when she was 15. Parents didn't know about it. He might have been 14 actually, and he was like 36, 38 or something at this point. But they didn't say anything about it until she was 16, because our age of consent's obviously 16. So then he met the parents, this fully grown, almost middle-aged man. She was 16. She ends up moving in with him at the age of, I think, 17. And he basically stopped her leaving the house, stopped her seeing her parents. He was allowed one phone call a month to her parents. She'd like say, I'll meet you on Mother's Day and stuff, and it'd never happen. Basically, over the course of 4 weeks, this guy tortured her. And I mean, I can read through some of the torture shit. Bear with me while I find my phone. But yeah, so he tortured this girl over 4 weeks. There was like 150 wounds, I guess, the post-mortem on this girl's body when she finally died. And prepare yourselves, anyone who's watching or listening, because this is not for the faint-hearted. So he repeatedly punched and kicked her. He stabbed her with scissors in her ears, nose, eyebrows, mouth, lips, and genitals. I'm reading this from my own script, by the way. I'm not like getting it off Wikipedia. Part of her scalp had been cut away. She was scalded on the left foot and buttocks. A hot iron was pressed against her thigh. She had an untreated fracture in her left arm. Both her hands had been crushed. Both her eyes had been gouged out. And that was like between 5 days or less of her death. It could have been up to 3 weeks, I think. And her empty eye sockets were repeatedly stabbed with pruning shears. You know them that you trim like garden bushes with.
Holy
And then he basically whacked her over the head, killed her, and then drowned her in the bath. Turned himself in, kind of. Well, he went to the police station, said, "Oh, my girlfriend's died. She's drowned in the bath." Tried to play it off as an accident.
Wow.
17-year-old kid, man. Brutal.
That is brutal, definitely. So, I mean, that was pretty dark, I'm not even gonna lie. So this next question is...
Shouldn't laugh, really. I shouldn't laugh, but mate, if you don't laugh researching all this shit, you'll go insane.
So, was it hard to grow on TikTok?
It was, and it wasn't, because if I would have just stuck to what I was doing, it would have been incredibly hard to grow. The thing about TikTok that I've learned, I had another channel before this one that got 60,000 or something, 64,000, and that was like, you know, these people that say, "Oh, how to make money doing side hustles."
Oh yeah.
It's like, "Oh, do like quizzes online and you'll get a $5 per quiz," and all. It's all bollocks.
Yeah.
So my angle was to expose that. So I would go on and say, I'd stitch a video that would say, "Oh, earn $100 an hour by translating stuff on Google Translate," and I did it in an American accent, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
Everyone thought it was American. But the thing is, you need a niche. Now, if I'd have, back to my point, if you'd kept doing what I was gonna do, just my own episodes, it wouldn't, I don't think, have kicked off. But it only kicked off because of one video that I didn't expect to kick off. I was bored one day at work, and I just watched Halloween. I think the Halloween reboot had come out, or one of the sequels. It was approaching Halloween, probably. And I thought, what if I did a video on Michael Myers, the killer from Halloween, played it as if he was like a real serial killer, like America's most violent serial killer or something. So I go through this video, and I've got green screen behind me of all the actors in the film, like Jamie Lee Curtis and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is Michael Myers, is America's worst serial killer or whatever. Like, on so and so he killed his, and like it's the actor, and I'm just going through the story as the video, pretending it's true. Got like 1 million views in 3 hours.
Wow.
And I just checked my phone. I was like, what the hell? But people thought it was real.
Yeah.
But then I played into that. I was like, yeah, it's real. It's real. People said it was a film, and I would be like, what do you mean a film? Like, playing dumb on it. That's the best way. It sounds awful if you're a genuine person, but the best way to get traction on TikTok is to come across as really stupid, because people want to come in and correct you when you're so obviously wrong.
Yeah.
I got quite fortunate in that it had a rapid rise. In that sense, it was quite easy because of how I got there. And then people started saying, do Freddy Krueger, do Jason Voorhees. Then I did the local ish, like do Purple Aki, do Toxic Terry, do this guy. And then it started, do a case in Durham, do a case in Leicester, do a case here and there. They made my content for me, kind of, the audience.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of big TikTokers, a lot of them kind of play on people, you know, like them playing stupid, you know, and it gets people commenting. I think, well, you know, a lot of, you know, like YouTube and TikTok, what they like is people commenting and stuff, because it's keeping people engaged, isn't it? So that is pretty smart. Speaking about TikTok, have you met any big TikTok creators, like maybe not in real life, but have you spoke to any?
Spoke to none, mate.
None.
I'm proper, like, say I think I've got 360,000 now, which is a decent number. I've never been invited to like a football game that they all do with Cal the Dragon and all that ish. like I still feel like I'm just a normal guy watching all these big TikTokers, like the whole drama between Cal the Dragon and Ed Matthews and all that shit that went on. I'm just some of these people have less, not them guys, but some of the big people have less followers than me.
I know, yeah.
Because I'm in such a weird niche, being true crime. It's not mainstream. It's not a blog about myself. So there's nothing to market as far as, oh, that's so and so. This is what he does in his life. I just sort of read crimes out and stuff.
You know, I think you could get into those football things. All you have to do is show them your followers, and then just like, you know, you could play with Cal the Dragon.
Oh, mate, I'd tear it up, mate. I'd take him out.
So, have you ever visited any real-life famous crime locations or anything?
I don't think I have. I want to go to this place called Cutthroat Bridge, which is in, I think it's in the Peak District. And it's this bridge where basically it's named Cutthroat Bridge because way back when, hundreds of years ago, they used to like cut people's throats or behead them by this bridge or something. Jeez. One of my cases, there was this guy called Anthony Antonio. And he used to go out with that singer, is it Estelle? Some singer, I think it might be her. He went out with this singer anyway. I think this guy was from a different country. I can't remember where. My knowledge is so bad, my memory's terrible. But he killed someone and ditched the body by this Cutthroat Bridge, which was named from 100 a few years ago. But there's this walk I want to go on that goes through it. Yeah. So, but I'm not that. I don't really have that kind of curiosity, you know, to think, oh, let's go to so and so to visit where this happened. Because realistically, because I cover so many cases that are quite unknown, it could have been crimes happened down the street.
Yeah.
And you don't even know about it.
Yeah, I get you. So, where do you see your career heading in like the next few years?
I'm just hoping to get a bit bigger on YouTube, to be honest.
Yeah.
Started from season 3. I started filming my episodes, and I got monetized about 2 weeks ago. Finally. Which was so hard, mate. YouTube. You say, ask how hard is TikTok? YouTube is so hard. I'm sure you know.
I know. Yeah. I know.
It's so hard because the podcast is pretty well established now.
Yeah.
Like I've got an ad agency that does ads for me, a host read ads and stuff. So that's getting a bit of a side income now. But now for the YouTube, it's all about video. And I've just, as it happens, about an hour ago, ordered like some lighting.
The camera which I'm using right now is not the greatest camera. It's like a little one from Amazon, right? But I have like a proper camera in my drawer, but I can't use it because it keeps it's a long story, but I have to fix something with it, right? So I'm still stuck with this, but definitely lighting does help a lot.
Yeah. Just trying to learn about it. It's just
I was gonna
not
say
a lighting
what was
guy.
it? Oh yeah, about YouTube. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube at the moment?
I got 1,300, I think.
1,300, not bad. Yeah.
You have to have 1,000 minimum and 4,000 watch hours in the last year.
I'm nowhere near the watch hours at the moment. Nowhere
It's hard,
near.
mate. It's hard.
I know.
Shorts and that. Shorts don't count for it.
Shorts are bad.
Yeah.
Your channel. I'll try not to do shorts.
I did one the other day and it was like, did alright.
It's kinda
I don't like it. Sort of fluffs up your feed, you know, when
Yeah.
you look at someone's videos and it's just got a random short that's cropped differently.
Yeah, I
It
know.
just looks weird.
So, many content creators all have a goal when it comes to producing videos. What is your end goal?
My end goal, I suppose, to turn this into a living full time.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm about a third of the way there, ideally.
Yeah.
That is the dream. I think if you have, because I have to do everything I do outside of work and family time, I only really get a couple of hours in an afternoon, maybe a couple of hours on a night. So sometimes if I've got I release an episode every week, so I've got to film my episode. But before that, I've got to write my episode. Before that, I've got to research the episode. And I've got to, once you've edited it, you got to upload it to YouTube, get all your SEO right, do your thumbnail, all this shit. And you got a week to do it. If I had no other job, I could get ahead probably, but also take my time a little bit with it because sometimes it feels a bit rushed.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So, what would you say, like, what got you into true crime, would you say?
Probably my mum, I think.
Your mum, how come?
Always likes, her fascination is like documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
So if she's got like a spare couple of hours to watch TV, unless she's watching Corrie or EastEnders, she'll be watching some mad true crime documentary.
Yeah.
So obviously, living there, growing up, it was like that was always on telly.
Yeah.
She'd always talk about it, so just kind of naturally grew into it. You always tend to like what your parents like, don't you?
True. So, I mean, before we kind of went through this, but who is the most noteworthy person you spoke to? Now, this doesn't have to come from your TikTok, whatever, but if you've had anyone, you know, on your podcast or anything.
I do interviews on my podcast,
Yeah.
and I've been doing more recently than I did at the start. Basically, what I do is I go on Amazon and see what books are coming out in the true crime category in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Any that I fancy that fit the niche, send an email to the publisher,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, who's going to speak to the author?
Yeah.
Then I'll send like a media kit with all my stats on and stuff. I spoke to this guy called Dr. Richard Shepherd, who he calls himself Britain's top forensic pathologist. So this guy's performed autopsies on like hundreds of thousands of victims, not just of murder, but of other stuff as well, suicide and car accidents, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's done like, there was a massacre in 1980, I want to say 7, so even before even my time, called the Hungerford Massacre. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't heard that.
So basically this guy, I forget the killer's name, he killed a load of people with a gun. I think 16 people. This guy, Dr. Shepherd, he did the autopsies on all of the victims and the killer, because the killer turned the gun on himself. He did all that. He worked on the Princess Diana inquiry. He worked on the 9/11 inquiry. So he's done some mad-ish in his career.
Wow.
I would say he's probably the most notorious. The one I was very, very interested to speak to and like could have spoke to for hours. Close second or joint top would be, I spoke to this High Court judge who worked at the Old Bailey, which is our like top criminal court for murder cases. She's like worked mad murder cases, but as a judge. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but down to my last question. So this is the ToBeFrank question, right? You have to be honest with this one, okay? So,
Cool.
would you say you're the best true crime podcast / TikTok account out there?
No.
No.
Nowhere near. So I'm in a group with other podcasters you see on Twitter.
Yeah.
And there's people on that, you know, and you think, oh, I'm doing really well. And then someone else sort of spills their stats and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that great. I think I'm quite good at what I do in my niche. So the fact that, you know, a female-dominated industry, there's not many British northern males that focus exclusively on British crime.
Yeah.
As far as my niche goes, I feel like I've kind of nailed that on.
Yeah, I'd say.
But yes, certainly not the best. TikTok-wise, I'm not even a goldfish in the ocean, mate.
Yeah. Well, that was all the questions.